not most. You're better than, I'll say, you're definitely, when you're bad, you're better than a third of the Major League Baseball pitchers. Would you agree?
I've never looked at it like that, but maybe.
Like when you're bad, like there's guys that go out there and just take shits on the mound every fifth day. Like the Mets, the guy from the Mets who set the record for most consecutive losses, Anthony Young. Like he was like an actual piece. He was garbage. But you're a guy like, they know when they send Jeremy Guthrie on the bump every fifth day, they know our guys out there. You're their closest thing they have to an ace, the Orioles, right? You're their opening day starter. They know they got a shot. But for some reason, and what is this with some pitchers? When you pitch, everyone's bats fucking go to sleep.
You know what? It's a funny game. But
I don't think it's funny if I'm pitching my balls off and everyone's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out there doing the goddamn Bugs Bunny routine up there. And the other pitcher is some ham and egger. They just called up from Fresno and he 2 hits the Orioles. How do you not look at the rest of the guys and go, look at the game tape! He's a bum! Swing the bat, Markakis!
I don't want to get on base.
How do you, for real, there has to be a moment when you're up like 14, 15 losses on the season and you've only given up 3 runs and you went 7 innings and you go, that you go back to the dugout. You got to look around. Be honest. There has to be moments where you look around and want to go, seriously?
Okay, maybe once a year I really snap when I think about that it could have been a lot better than it is. Maybe it's once a year.
Bases loaded, no outs. You gave up, let's say you give up a 2-run homer in the first inning, and then you've gotten everybody out since. It's 2-0 other team, and then your team, the Orioles, like 5th inning, bases loaded, no outs, and you go, here we go. I'm all set up. Strike out, pop out, Vladdy goes down swinging. When you go back out on the mound, are you like, what am I doing out here?
The answer is no.
But I should be Rick Ankiel and switch to center field.
Once a year I do get pissed off, though, and I usually break a bat or swing something into
Where do you do it?
Down below.
Why? What are you, playing a submarine? What do you mean down below?
Down in the
Orioles yacht?
Down the bat room.
Down below in the Orioles.
Down in the bat cave.
Down below in the Orioles yacht.
Oh, shoot. We have these. Are
you on the bow or stern when you break the bat?
I'm in, I don't know.
Now, you break the bat out of frustration at the team. And if you get uncomfortable, we can edit anything out you don't want on the podcast. Okay.
I'm not uncomfortable.
When you break the bat out of frustration, I know obviously you're a guy that gets frustrated at himself because you're a wired winner. You're an Eagle Scout. You're an Olympian.
Wow, Olympian. You just added that to my resume. Sweet.
I just saw a picture of you in a USA jersey.
Doesn't mean I'm an Olympian.
Weren't you in the Olympics?
No, I played in the World Baseball Classic.
All right, you're a World Baseball Classician.
There you go.
Right?
Olympian. You know what? I actually swam the 100-meter breaststroke.
You did, right?
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
I did with Michael Phelps. He taught it to me.
A Japanese guy?
Big Oriole fan.
Michael Phelps?
I don't know. He just lives in Baltimore, but I don't know if he necessarily is an Oriole fan.
He looks a little odd. He looks like Fred Gwynn from the Munsters.
I think he likes the Yankees.
I think he likes...
Michael, you listening?
I think he likes bong hits. I think he likes a lot of the hippie lettuce. I think Michael Phelps reps about 3 or 4 bong hits from his Orioles skull bong, and then he gets in the pool baked and just makes believe he's a dolphin.
Some strong beliefs.
No, I know. I actually have the tape. I'm selling it to TMZ. So when you break a bat, to get back on point here, are you breaking a bat because of is it just the inability? And this happens, every team has one hard luck pitcher that goes out there and they just don't hit for the poor guy. And meanwhile, I remember when Matt and I were going to Yankee games. Matt Frost is here in our little studio audience.
Sportrobe.com.
And Frosty the Showman in fantasy sports, or the New York Negotiators in football. But Matt and I used to go to like a ton of Yankee games, and you would get like a guy like Bob Wickman who would give up 8 runs a game, but they would always win 9-8. And the guy would be like 15-12 on the season. His ERA would be 6. And then you get a guy like Jeremy Guthrie, whose ERA is like 4.2, and you got 17 losses. When you're breaking the bat, do you ever think, I know you won't name a name, but are you thinking of a particular guy? Like, how did you not drive that run in and take me off the hook?
I'm usually pissed off at myself more than anything. I'm usually just mad at myself for giving up runs.
There's got to be a guy that's no longer in baseball.
That you hate?
That you thought, why is this guy on the 25-man roster?
There's like 10 of them. I'm going to name them.
Yes. Come on. There has to be.
I only know 10.
Like Matt Noakes, old catcher from the Yankees.
Jeez. Will you please name a player in this podcast that's played in the last 15 years?
I know.
Jeez. Bob Wickman started his last game in 1993.
But you know it.
Well, I played with him. He was a closer.
Oh, this is what I want to ask you. You got drafted by the Pirates.
And the Mets. Don't sleep on the Mets.
Who drafted you first?
The Mets.
The Mets drafted you. Speak up. The Mets drafted you first, and you didn't do it.
I did not. I did not sign.
And then the Pirates drafted you.
2001. 97 out of high school by the Mets.
So the Mets, in 97, the Mets drafted you in the 15th round.
Yeah, fine. Yeah.
So that means your signing bonus is like $600, and you get to...
No, it was bigger than that. It was actually a good story. This is before cell phones. So I was in English class, senior year, June.
In high school?
My dad gives me the brick.
You're in high school?
Yeah, I'm in high school. My dad gives me the brick because I might get drafted, right?
What's the brick?
Big old cell phones, the bricks.
Oh.
They call them the brick. So I'm at school.
Where?
In Ashland, Oregon. Ashland High School. Leanne Wallace, Mrs. Wallace is senior English.
She was so hot.
No, she was not. Come on. Great lady.
She was so nice.
Great
What did I
teacher.
say, hot? I meant to say nice.
Great teacher.
Miss Wallace was so nice.
Hey, the phone blares in the middle of class. At this point, I'm the only person in that school with a cell phone that day. Guaranteed. It's not 2011.
Like when Michael Douglas gets out of jail in Wall Street 2 and they hand him that big chunky phone back?
Exactly. I had that phone.
The beeper from Casino.
I borrowed it from him when he was in prison. And so the phone rings. I pick the thing up and walk right out of the class. And she gives me the look of death. It's the San Diego Padres on the phone. They said, "Hey, Jeremy, we want to pick you in the 3rd round. We're going to give you $350,000. Can we pick you? Will you sign?"
Holy balls.
I'm like, come on. I said, I just learned about, past tense or how to use a verb.
I just learned the Canterbury Tales.
I just learned the Canterbury Tales.
I'm learning Chaucer. Agag!
I just read ATOTC. A Tale of Two Cities.
I was going to say, I think it's a porn.
I know you're on the cliffhanger right there. I take the thing out. I tell him no. I say, I can't commit to that.
Why?
I got no agent. I got no Kevin.
Matt. You look like a Kevin. So you, at 17 years old, you told the San Diego Padres, I don't want more than $250,000. I'm going to ride this English class thing out and see where it takes me.
I was going to let it roll.
I'm going to see where this English class takes me. You never know. I might wind up taking my SATs. Might wind up in school. So you told them no.
I told them no.
Did your father spank you?
No, he didn't spank. You know what? I actually thought they might say, "Oh, how about a little bit more?" They said, "Okay, thanks," and hung up. I said, "Okay, well, that didn't work out." That was my negotiating tactic, right? Like maybe they offer me a little bit more right there.
I do it all the time.
They hung up. So I get a call later on. A couple hours later, the Mets say they picked me in the 15th round.
So 3rd round pick.
Dropped to the 15th round, though.
So then the Mets go, well, he's still on the board somehow.
Yeah.
Now, do the Mets know that the Padres picked you and you turned them down?
They didn't pick me. They were trying to.
Because in football, they know exactly the war room, what's going on.
I doubt
too many
the Mets
rounds.
knew. I doubt the Mets had any clue.
Because it's too many players to keep track of.
Too many
right?
rounds. 50 rounds, 30 players around. They don't keep track of everybody.
So the Mets just look up and go, oh, this high school kid's still on the board. We should grab him.
Yeah, exactly.
So does the brick ring again?
No, the brick doesn't even ring. The brick rings like 5 hours later after school's over, and they said, "Hey, we picked you in the 15th
But
round."
you're still holding the brick.
Yeah, well, the brick's
Are
in
you
the
holding
backpack.
the brick in anticipation of another team calling, or are you holding the brick because you look swag?
At this point, I'm just holding the brick because I'm swag. Only kid to ever leave high school by 19. I was the first kid in Ashland High School to probably walk out of a class with a cell phone in his hand, ringing, no less, loud. Wasn't even on vibrate. They didn't have vibrate back then.
You ever hear the song "Vibrate" by Rufus Wainwright?
No.
It's great. I'll write it down for you later. You want something to drink? You look nervous.
I'm just constipated.
Diarrhea. Diarrhea. Remember Chan Park?
Yeah.
How come you had to come out of the game? Diarrhea.
He said that?
You didn't see that?
No, I saw him drop kick somebody once, though.
That was awesome. When he was on the Dodgers, some guy got chippy with him. He did a spinning fucking shinobi kick.
Almost as good as the guy that in AAA kicked the catcher before he charged the mound.
That was awesome, too.
That was cool, too.
This is all on YouTube. You can look this shit up. But Chan Park was asked, why did you have to come out of the game in the first inning? And he goes, diarrhea. And they all start laughing, and he's just looking around. He has no idea why that's funny. He's like, you asked me, and I answered. He goes, diarrhea. Diarrhea. I don't know what diarrhea. That's what it was. So you have the opposite problem. So the Mets call, and are you now talking to the Mets on the brick?
No.
How do these teams
home phone?
How do these teams have your father's cell phone number?
They send the scouts everywhere. And then they ask you the day of the draft. They call before and said, hey, if we're going to pick you, we might need to talk to you. What's a phone number we can reach you at?
And he said, do you want my home number or do you want the brick?
I gave him the brick because I was going to be at school. I was thinking big, early rounds. I was going to be at school.
When you were in high school pitching, were you hypersensitive and hyper aware of the fact that there were scouts watching you pitch?
Well, yeah, you knew. I mean,
did they tell you?
We had just as many people as they have at the Trop, so you're going to notice when the scouts are there.
And did that make you pitch better? Did you get in your own head like, let's do this? Scouts
am I really making fun of the Trop?
No.
I don't know. They might have had more fans than us this year in Baltimore.
It's pragmatic. It's pragmatism that the Tropicana does not draw.
Why? I honestly, if we check the stats, and I love the Baltimore fans, and I know they'll come back once we start doing something good and we can earn it, but I don't know that.
Once you get C.J. Wilson in that Baltimore Orioles
Wouldn't
uniform.
Hurt.
Is that collusion if I talk about it?
No, because you mean nothing to anybody in baseball. I mean, so you can talk about all you want.
That's not true. Buck Showalter's a personal friend of mine. I got him pregnant. So the Mets call. What's their offer?
You know what? They flew me out to New York, spent some time with the team.
Can I interrupt real quick?
Yeah.
That is the most horrible negotiating ploy the New York Mets could ever do, is to fly a young man to Queens and show him around.
No,
like, what better way to drive people away from your team? Look, it's Queens. Look at this shithole we call home.
No, they showed me a great delicatessen.
Wow, that's great. As opposed to Tropicana, they could have showed you the beaches in the Gulf of Mexico.
And the catwalk.
The catwalks.
I threw a
Padres, you could have went out to San Diego and been completely overwhelmed. Instead, they bring you out to Shea. They show you that cement block that was Shea Stadium. They go, look, when there's a home run, when you give up a home run, a little apple will come out of the hat. You're like, I'm in.
I'm in. I'm all in.
Did they give you a numerical figure?
Yeah, I think when it was all said and done, I think it was about $550,000.
So how is the offer more in the 15th round than the third round?
Because it's free negotiations.
You were playing hard to get at this point.
No, I wasn't even playing to get. I was just planning on going to college.
So that's why you didn't sign with either team, because you really wanted to go to college.
I really wanted to go to college, and I really wanted to go on my church mission.
Because you're a practicing Mormon.
Correct.
Okay. So that you knew going in, you knew when you had the brick in class that no matter who called, no matter what the offer, you were going to eschew that to go on your Mormon mission.
Well, yeah. I just
Which kind of makes you a dick.
No.
You wasted everyone's time.
No, not at all.
What do you mean not at all? You got teams calling and you're like, yeah, I don't think so. I want to go. Why don't you say, hey, call me in 2 years when I get back from Spain when I'm knocking on, hola, senora, Latter-day Saints. I want to talk to you about Gabriel's horn. And then 2 years later, then we can start negotiating. If you knew you weren't going to sign with anybody.
You don't understand baseball. You could tell them that 50 times.
Don't tell me I don't understand baseball. All right?
You could tell them that right to their face. They'll still draft you. That's just the way it is.
But you brought the brick. You're not following me. But you brought the phone with you.
Well, I had to bring the phone to tell them no.
No, you brought the phone because you wanted to know that number.
I brought the phone because I wanted to be cool.
Fair enough. So the offer, you might be the only guy I've ever heard of that in the third round gets offered $350,000, and then 12 rounds later, his price goes up by $200,000, $250,000.
Maybe I had a good summer. That was later on in the summer.
Oh, it wasn't later that day?
No,
I'm like, man, you must have pitched your balls off that afternoon.
Oh, yeah. I had a great fourth period.
Say between English and phys ed, man.
Hey, you know what? We just talked to your physics teacher, and you had a great fourth quarter today. You finished strong. You're going to get an A in the class. We'd like to offer you $550. Would you take it?
We read your term paper. Your bibliography was. We've never seen anything like it.
Your Wikipedia?
No, that was pre-Wikipedia when you had to put all your stupid sources at the back and you'd lie. And you just make stuff up that the teacher couldn't trace.
Oh, I would have never.
So you turned on the. I know you're a good boy. You are like a super good family guy. We talked earlier today, and you turned down the Mets, $550,000.
Yep.
And now so that was the Mets were first at 97. Then who was first? The Padres were first.
The Padres called me first. The Mets
in 97. Then the Mets called you a few months later in 97.
No. They drafted me the same day.
The Mets
you don't want to go down this. This is a long road.
No, the Mets drafted you.
Make it quick if you go down this road.
We'll make it quick. The Mets.
Okay.
So you did sign with the Mets?
No, I didn't. I didn't sign with them. They offered me $550,000.
You said no, and then you went on your
said
Mormon mission.
I went to BYU,
Oh,
got
okay.
blasted all around the whack. So we can talk about that. But
That means you got people hit the ball a lot when you pitched.
back then, I got a lot of run support. I actually won a game against the Utah Utes. I went 5 innings and gave up 11 earned runs and got a W. Yeah. That's whack baseball, literally.
So, did you know you wanted to pitch in college? Some ham and egger they just called up from Fresno, and he 2 hits the Orioles. How do you not look at the rest of the guys and go, look at the game tape? He's a bum. Swing the bat, Markakis.
I don't want to get on base.
I don't want to get on base. How do you, for real, there has to be a moment when you're up like 14, 15 losses on the season and you've only given up 3 runs and you went 7 innings and you go, that you go back to the dugout. You got to look around. Be honest. There has to be moments where you look around and want to go, seriously?
Okay, maybe once a year I really snap when I think about that it could have been a lot better than it is. Maybe it's once a year.
Bases loaded, no outs. You gave up, let's say you give up a 2-run homer in the first inning, and then you've gotten everybody out since. It's 2-0 other team, and then your team, the Orioles, like 5th inning, bases loaded, no outs, and you go, here we go. I'm all set up. Strike out, pop out, Vladdy goes down, garbage. But you're a guy like, they know when they send Jeremy Guthrie on the bump every 5th day, they know our guys out there, you're their closest thing they have to an ace, the Orioles, right? You're the opening day starter. They know they got a shot. But for some reason and what is this with some pitchers, when you pitch, everyone's bats fucking go to sleep.
You know what? It's a funny game. But
I don't think it's funny if I'm pitching my balls off and everyone's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out. They're doing the goddamn Bugs Bunny routine up there. And the other pitch, not most. You're better than, I'll say, you're definitely, when you're bad, you're better than a third of the Major League Baseball pitchers. Would you agree?
I've never looked at it like that, but maybe.
Like when you're bad, like there's guys that go out there and just take shits on the mound every 5th day. Like the Mets, the guy from the Mets who set the record for most consecutive losses, Anthony Young. Like he was like an actual piece. He was swinging. When you go back out on the mound, are you like, what am I doing out here?
The answer is no. But
I should be Rick Ankiel and switch to center field.
Once a year I do get pissed off, though. And I usually break a bat or swing something into
Where do you do it?
Down below.
Why? Down? What are you playing, a submarine? What do you mean down below?
Down in the
Orioles yacht?
Down in the bat room.
Down below in the Orioles.
Down in the bat cave.
Down below in the Orioles yacht.
Oh, shoot. We have these.
Are you on the bow or stern when you break the bat?
I'm in, I don't know.
Now you break the bat out of frustration.